Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about One Piece chapter 934, and overall it was an okay chapter, not too bad. I don't think so. First of all, I just want to say it's really windy outside, so I apologize if this comes off a little bit weird in terms of the background noise. Can't really do anything about that, but it's been windy all day, so oh well. Okay, so first up, let's just go down the line. I have a whole bullet point list of things that I want to talk about, or at least the major points of the chapter. First of all, let's just get through Big Mom and Chopper are currently traveling to Udon. Big Mom's still being a nice person, and that's really about it. They're traveling to Udon. There's some somewhat funny gags with Big Mom being like, oh, well, those people were very nice, but they didn't give me enough to eat. And then she drools a little bit while looking at Chopper and whatever. It's such a B plot that I really just don't care enough about it. Eventually, I'm sure it'll hit. Eventually, I'm sure it'll hit. Come to a head. But at this point, I don't really care. The first thing we actually saw, though, was Big Mom's pirates. They're on the boat, and they're wondering where she is, basically. They have a Viver card for her, and so they know she's still alive, but they're trying to figure out whether Kaido captured her, or whether she just washed ashore somewhere, which they were technically right about that. But they don't know anything about that. They're just kind of waiting around, basically discussing, hey, if Big Mom's gone, who's going to take over? Pedoin or whatever. Perospero is like, oh, I'd take over. And then somebody else says, no, probably Katakuri. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Big Mom stuff right now. Maybe it'll come to a head eventually. I'm sure it will, honestly, because if Big Mom and Chopper are heading to Udon, there's some stuff that happens later on that I think will be pretty interesting. Anyways, but Big Mom stuff, that's probably the low point of the chapter for me. Personally, I don't know what else to say about that. As we go on, Nami, Brook, Robin, and Shinobu have regrouped along with Kanjuro, and they're just kind of going over the stuff that happened. They got away. They're worried about Otoko, which obviously they should be because Orochi's being a jerk and could possibly be going after her. They also discuss a little bit of, I guess Robin got a lot of information, but she jokes around and acts like, oh, she only got like minuscule like little things, and then it's just like she's got all this important information about like, oh, the Orochi's like daily habits, what Kaido eats, what his favorite food is, what they're bringing to Onigashima when they go there. What was another thing? All right, how many weapons they have, how many men they have. So pretty important stuff, honestly. So she found out a lot, and I'm sure that'll be really useful for the fight on Onigashima. Another thing, Brook, while he was floating around in his ghost form, found the a poneglyph in the castle, but it wasn't the road poneglyph that they needed in order to find Raftel. So they're kind of being like, okay, well, he couldn't get like a etching of the poneglyph at the castle, but that's okay. Maybe it'll come up again. Maybe Robin will head back and figure out what it says. But they're basically thinking that the road poneglyph is likely on Onigashima at this point, which honestly is probably for the best because that's where everybody's heading, and it'll be a good climactic thing for Robin to go there while everybody else is fighting, because obviously Robin doesn't fight anymore, or ever, and that'll be an interesting thing for her to do on Onigashima along with everybody else there. Before I move on from their group, I do want to talk about Kanjuro bringing up Kyoshiro and how they don't really recognize him. And back in their day, 20 years ago or whatever, the Yakuza boss, like the big guy, was a guy named Hyogoro the Flower, and that's the guy that they know. And Kyoshiro is kind of a mystery. So I'm wondering what the deal is with him. He had the symbol with the cranes and the snake and whatever. So I'm wondering if he's definitely going to end up being on their side in some capacity. I don't care what anybody says right now. The Komurasaki and him are going to be all up in that. I'm not worried about that. But I do wonder what his relationship with this Hyogoro is. Maybe he's like a son or something like that took over the family. I don't know. Okay, moving on. So we jump to basically what's happening in the capital, and everybody's sad about Komurasaki and how it's crazy that Kyoshiro would do that, and everybody should be quiet because Kyoshiro's family would just basically kill anybody. And then we see what Sanji, Usopp, Frankie, and Law are doing, and they're basically just kind of hiding out and chit-chatting. Law's reading the newspaper. Sanji's bawling his eyes out. He's met Komurasaki once, kind of. Not even. He's seen her, and he is super sad because the death of a lady is never good. And I agree, I guess. But he very quickly moves on from that and is thinking about his new gear and how it can turn him invisible. And then he's like, oh, where's the bathhouse? In which case, Usopp basically says, hey, focus. So we learn a couple of things from them. One, it turns out that Wano has these like small little transponder snails, or their version of it, that are called Smales. And whatever, I don't care for the name. I think it's dumb, but I guess it's a small snail. But they were gonna think about using it to get in contact with Nami and her group. The other thing that they talked about is apparently Eustace Kid, broke out of the jail. He got out of there somehow. That's basically the crux of the end of the chapter, more or less, is where'd Kid go? Hey, how'd he get out? And so we jump to the prison in Udon, which is where Luffy is also. So now Big Mom's heading there, and Luffy's there, so I'm sure that'll be great. So we jump to Luffy, and he's getting basically grilled about where Kid is, because he was talking to him a bunch, and he's getting grilled by this jailer who has this alpaca smile fruit, and he's this giant alpaca guy, and almost every sentence he uses a pack pun, in which case, let me see if I can find one. At one point, he's spitting on Luffy, and Luffy's like, ew, gross, and he reads, what? You talk pack to me? And earlier on he says the death penalty for sure. What an LP brain. Dumb. I got a good laugh out of it, I'll admit that much. It was really dumb, it caught me off guard, but hey, puns can be fun. So, we move on from Luffy basically getting grilled by this alpaca guy to Old Man Hyo getting beat up again over food. What the heck? These jailers do not like him at all, for whatever reason. He's an old man, he can't really work. Luffy gave him a bunch of vouchers anyways for the food to get, the dumplings, but then they're like, oh, hey, you're not really working. Where are you getting all these vouchers from? Tell us who gave it to you. Get the heck out of here. Not gonna happen. And Old Man Hyo, he's like, he did me a great service. I'd be dishonoring him if I told you. I gotta uphold this honor. And he basically just doesn't want to tell anybody. And that's where it drops. We learn that Old Man Hyo is actually Hyogoro the Flower. So he is the former Yakuza boss from 20 years ago. And now he's in this prison, which honestly, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, like, even if he technically, let's say, didn't get along with the Kozukis, like, I don't know, Yakuza getting along with the Shogun, I don't know. But even if he didn't get along with the Kozukis, he was still technically a powerful being, I would suppose, back when Kaido took over. So you would think that they want to get rid of all forms of leadership when they're coming in, when Orochi and Kaido come in. So it makes sense that he'd be in prison, honestly. So Luffy sees this happening, him getting beat up, and he basically springs into the action, and he's getting warned, yo, hey, man, if you do anything more, they will frickin' kill you. Don't even start. But he doesn't care. He jumps up, and we basically just see him flinging himself towards the jailer that's beating up Old Man Hyo. Now, the last page is Queen on the scene. So we got King, who basically knocked the Big Mom Pirates off the waterfall. Now Queen has arrived at the prison to figure out what's going on. We got Kid, who has apparently escaped the prison, which who knows where he could be. He's still got his cuffs on, so he can't use his devil fruit powers. And then you got Luffy, who causes trouble everywhere he goes. And Old Man Hyo's causing trouble because, well, he's living. And so Queen's there, and that's basically where we leave off. Queen is going to take care of business, and I think everything's gonna hit the fan at some point. You have Luffy in the prison. Kid is somewhere in Udon, presumably still, because he's still got the chains on him. Queen has now arrived at the prison, and you have Big Mom and Chopper heading to Udon themselves. I think something's gonna blow up here. I imagine Luffy will eventually break out of this prison, and eventually him and my Big Mom are gonna see each other, and it's either gonna be him attacking Big Mom, but she doesn't know what's going on, and it's like whatever, or something's gonna spark, and suddenly it's going to be even worse. Then they have Big Mom with her memories back, Queen around, dealing all kinds of damage with whatever Devil Fruit power they have, and Luffy needing to figure out how to get out of here with Chopper and everybody safe. They don't have much time before the invasion of Onigashima anyways. Things are getting crazy. Overall, I would have to say that this chapter was alright. It had some good setup, it filled us in with some stuff, but I think overall it probably wasn't my favorite chapter, especially after last chapter, which seemed kind of really cool. I thought it was alright. It was not a 5 out of 5 or whatever if I'm going to score it, but I thought it was alright. So, what did you guys think about this chapter? What do you think about all of these people coming to Udon, and where do you think that's going to go? Let me know down below in the comments section, where do you think Kid is? And remember to like if you enjoyed this video. Also, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you can get all kinds of notifications about my videos. I will see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.